Luxury fashion news. So obviously there's been a scandal in Dior. Dior. Like I just every time I hear the word Dior, I just think of Pop Smoke song. Dior. Do you know what I mean? May you rest in peace. Anyways, so I don't know much about Dior except that it was created by a French designer called Christian Dior. Obviously, the French are known for luxury goods and the French fashion. It's it contributes a huge. I think it contributes a huge percentage to France's GDP. French designs are known for quality. You know, etc. etc. So this medium Lady Dior bag retails for £5,300. Yeah. So We're gonna read the scandal. So what is the scandal? Yeah, I've just got some. So this is from Fortune.com. The LVMH Italian Dior maker is being investigated for outsourcing its luxury manufacturing to Chinese-owned firms that allegedly exploit workers. Yeah. I don't know what people think. Do people honestly think that all designer goods are made in France? Do people actually believe that? Or Italy? Like, made in France, made in Italy. A lot of the times it's made in, like, China, made in Ethiopia, made in Nigeria, made in, like, Algeria, made in Vietnam. And then they just do the finishing in Italy and France. But people who are rich and can afford luxury goods are fucking gullible as well. Let me just get rid of that ad. Okay, so it says this is a picture of the Dior shop in Shanghai. It says LVMH, Italy's subsidiary, has been pulled into a probe involving workers' exploitation practices. The French luxury company unit making Dior bags have allegedly been handling work to Chinese-owned firms that mistreat workers. Surprise, surprise! Like, I'm not being funny. When did the Italians be known? Were the Italians really known for good working practice and not exploiting workers and using refugees and migrants? Like, they do that all the time in fruit. I don't know why people think it doesn't happen in fashion and designer fashion. Anyway, people are gullible anyway. It says a Milan court is looking into the matter that says the pattern of big fashion houses in Italy allegedly violating workers' rules isn't a one-off occurrence and was often done to increase profits. Surprise, surprise. This is one of the reasons why I don't mind buying designer dupes and designer inspired, because I know for a fact that the designer the designer fashion houses, they don't pay their workers well. Not all their workers are getting paid well. They're no different than fast fashion. Do you know what I mean? It's a joke. Everybody knows there's so much exploitation. Not everybody does know, but because my mum's a fashion designer, my mum's worked in fashion for a long time. Um, I know, I know how it works. Do you know what I mean? I do my research. But if you don't work in fashion, you don't come from a family of people that have worked in fashion. You just don't understand. You actually think that designer houses pay their workers really well, all of their workers really well. Um, the court has placed a unit called Manufacturers Dior L and SRL, and fully owned by Christian Dior's Italian SRL under court administration on Monday, Reuters report. It's not something sporadic that concerns a single production lots, but a generalized and cons, cons, how do you say that word? Consolidated manufacturing methods, the document reviewed by the outlet says. One of the things, like, this is what I don't understand, because I find there's a lot of snobbery in fashion where people say, oh, well, if you buy fashion, that's what you get. Workers get exploited. Right, let's get a few things straight here. If you're making anything in China, you're trying to cut costs. Let's be honest, everybody knows that, unless you're a fool. So the only reason why you would make something in China is because you're trying to cut costs, yeah? Because there's people in Europe that can make stuff, but you don't want to pay the price. So obviously you're looking to cut costs, yeah? And you can't check up on what people are doing in China to their workers. Allow it, man. It says, what do we know about the investigations? Look at four suppliers who were based near Milan. I employed 32 people, of who two were illegal immigrants, while seven others lacked sufficient documentation. Local police inspected the supply factories earlier in the year and found that workers were subject to hygiene and health conditions that were beyond the minimum required by an ethical approach, the court document says. Of the, is it EGA, regulus practices, the ruling found that employers slept at the workplace just to ensure that they were available 24 hours a day. Well, some of them were illegal immigrants, so of course, and something tells me that they didn't have a place to stay anyway. Do you know what I mean? At least they're not late for work. Safety equipment and machine was also removed so operations would go faster. So God forbid. You see what I mean? This is your designer good that you're paying for. It gets anyway, people. It gets worse. Those curbing production costs down to as little as €53 and $57 for a handbag that otherwise was sold at €2,600 and $2,794. Well, so let's do that. What, that is not even. What percentage is that for me to do the maths now? That is just, and this is one of the reasons why it's not that I don't buy designer goods. I'm gonna get my first designer handbag, but that's because it's a Marc Jacobs bag and it's on the lower range and stuff. But I wouldn't pay full price as a working class person for something when it starts running into thousands of pounds. But people are gullible. Could you imagine it only cost them €53 to make and they're selling it for €2,600? That's not even 100%, is it? That's not even. Is that 100? Is that 1,000? I don't know. Is that 1,000%? I'd have to work out what markup that is. It says, in case of the LVMH Italian subsidiary, the company subcontracted with firms in leather goods industry that were found to be based in the country but were Chinese owned. The probe isn't a good look for the high profile brand like Dior, headed by Daphne Al-Nal, the daughter of LVMH CEO Bernard Arnault. In terms of legal action, the Milanese court ruling doesn't mean that a criminal probe involving Dior directly, but rather its suppliers who have been linked to such practices. This is how the fashion business always does it. Oh, we subcontracted it. Do you know what I mean? Subcontract. So you blame the subcontractors. You don't blame the fashion house in it. But you're the one paying the subcontractors. So you are you are to blame, though, aren't you? Representatives LVMH didn't immediately return Fortune's request for comments. Surprise, surprise. They were unavailable. Surprise, surprise. This happened much in the luxury industry. For years, luxury companies, even non-high-end retailers, have been linked to forced labour claims in countries like China and India. Yeah? The implication is that retailers turn to developing countries to reduce the cost of production, but often that's tied to worker exploitation. We know that. In recent years, the scrutiny over the clothing supply chain and its practices have increased. It really lies at the centre of such probes because it home to thousands of small manufacturers that count for 50 to 55 of the global production of luxury and leather goods. Consultant firm Barnin told Reuters. like Dior, fashion house giants Giorgio Armani was investigated earlier this year after the Milan court ruled that the company underpaid people €2 to €3. The company paid them people uh, €2 to €3 to work roughly 10 hours a day for up to 7 days, 7 days at a time. €2 to €3. What do you mean? They paid €2 to €3 to work 10 hours a day. As a result, the company was placed under judiciary administration. You see, Giorgio Armani, oh, fucking hell. In 2021, it's Uglo and Zara owned is Indexica were part of a French probe into forced labour practice linked to China's Uyghur community. Sweden's H&M allegedly engaged in similar activities in Myanmar, making it subject of an investigation, ultimately pushing it to wind up operations there. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, for you people that can afford designer goods, do you know what I mean? You will not be lecturing us people who wear fast fashion on labour's rights, workers being paid a livable wage, health and safety, because you people are just as bad. You know, your Dior bag is being made in a sweatshop. Those are the basic thing. It's been made in a sweatshop in Italy, made in Italy, and sweatshop in China. Do you know what I mean? So, people, anyway, tell me what you think of this. Are you astonished that this designer bag can retail for so much, and find out it can be made for only for 55 euros and end up retailing for 2,000? Oh, whoops, that's a copy. Whoops, one moment. Yeah. Are you shocked? I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. But anyway, don't play hate. Hate the game, not the player. Latest people, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share my videos. More fashion videos coming up. Let's